Hey everyone, Alan Thrall here to talk about lifting's biggest mystery. Why does the first rep of a deadlift set feel harder than the subsequent reps? Rep 1 is hard, reps 2, 3, 4, and so on feel easier. Why is this? I have two reasons for why this happens. Number one, your starting position might be different on rep number 1 compared to rep number 2. Pay attention next time you deadlift. Does your back do all the work on rep number 1, but you feel like you can use more legs on rep number 2? Or does the bar have to travel around your knees on rep number 1, but then it slides vertically in a straight line against the front of your legs on rep number 2? The answers to these questions could be the solution to your problem. When you set the bar down after rep number 1, your skeleton is self-organizing as you lower the weight back to the floor. Lowering the bar resembles a controlled drop straight down to the floor, and you're just going along for the ride while resisting gravity. In other words, you aren't getting into a great starting position on rep number 1 because you have no tactile feedback. But after rep number 1, the bar is pulling you into a better starting position for rep number 2. I would suggest paying close attention to any deviations and differences between your starting position on rep number 1 and subsequent reps. This is the main reason why I suggest you do not move the barbell on rep number 1. You should set up to the barbell. Don't set the barbell up to you. Something you can do when you're setting up is to imagine you were lowering a heavy barbell to get into a good starting position. John Hack is a good example of this. It's almost as if he lowers himself to the bar the exact same way he picks it up. You don't have to try to mimic his setup, but it's a good illustration of what I'm saying. And number 2, your second rep gets help from stored energy and a stretch reflex. Your first rep is being pulled 0 to 60 miles an hour from a dead stop, maybe even with relaxed muscles. After your first rep, you might be storing energy and building tension in your low back, hamstrings, legs, lats, and midsection while you lower the bar, which is then being carried into the second rep. Even if you lower the weight quickly, and even if you pause the weight on the ground, your body is still locked and loaded, ready to pop the weight back up. This phenomenon of the first rep being more difficult than the second rep is unique to the deadlift, not so much the squat and the bench, because the former does not start with an eccentric portion, but the latter does. This is the reason why some people use a dynamic start when deadlifting. It can just be something as simple as a quick pop of the hips up and down. Doing this is a way to use a tiny bit of stretch reflex in the lower body before pulling the weight off the ground. It's a concerted effort to load your muscles and joints before pulling the weight from a dead stop. I'm not going to make this an entire point, but it's worth mentioning that there might be a psychological component at play here. Maybe the anticipation or the uncertainty of what the weight feels like is present on rep number 1, but it's gone after rep number 2. Who knows? But in conclusion, if your first rep feels like the hardest rep of a set, take into consideration the couple of things I talked about in this video, and also realize that it's not that big of a deal. It's actually quite common. I just remind myself that rep number 1 might be a bit slow. It's nothing to be surprised by. And I tell myself to just get past the first rep, and then it's smooth sailing from there. Thanks for watching, and always remember, tread on time!